The guys you know and trust, talking about the teams you can't live without. This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK proudly presented by our title sponsor, Black Desert Resort, Utah's premier golf resort. Question of the morning. The Utes sweep the Kansas schools. Could an NCAA tournament bid be possible? Do you dare to dream? Chad, if they win the conference championship, that is the only path forward.
I disagree. I knew you'd choose this one, though.
Chad
Your
is
love of
in
college
red.
basketball.
Chad is in red.
No, that's not true.
Scott, if they go undefeated in conference play, so they don't have to win the conference tournament title, but they got to win out in the regular season, then Joe says they can get in.
Well, if Ken Palm says that if BYU has a winning record in conference, they'll get in, why wouldn't the Utes get in if they had a winning record? What BYU have did that Utah have not did.
The classic quote.
What would be the difference? Help me out here.
Strength of non-conference schedule.
Except
Not really, huh?
Utah has beaten BYU.
Yes.
So that's...
You do have that going for them. And
Yeah.
obviously there's a second game coming up, which to win out, they'll have to claim that game in the regular season finale.
Yeah, but I don't think they have to need to win out then.
3 more losses. That is the deal now. Now, a couple of those are in league, obviously. So the non-conference schedule, basically neither one of them played much of anybody.
No.
And nor did they look very good in the non-conference. Arguably, BYU had one more good win than BYU in the non-conference. For
Yeah,
whatever
but
that's
Ken
worth.
Palm wasn't talking about the non-conference.
He was talking about getting to 11-9, and you'll get in.
Right. So why couldn't they do the same thing? What would be the difference?
I looked at Ken Palm's numbers. He's got Utah down at 76. That's a lot of ground to make up on BYU. He's got them 40 points behind, 40 spots behind. BYU's up in the 30s. And I think that you have to be top 40 to know you're in the 40s. You're on the bubble, but you got a decent chance, but you could miss.
Well, they talk about BYU being on the bubble, so what difference does it make if they're in the 30s? I mean, it's right now anyway. It's not, the tournament isn't being decided tonight.
Can they get in with 12 losses? Assuming they win out and they lose a conference tournament game at some point. But 12-8 in the league.
No, 12-8. They're going bowling.
Going bowling.
12-8? Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
Kevin dislikes this entire discussion. Easy there.
Why?
One
What are you-
game
what are
at
you,
a
freaking
time.
Mr. Ed over here?
Yeah, I am. One game at a time. You got to sell it.
Well, whatever, one game at a time.
What do you think the odds are of them actually winning out and winning the last 5, considering there's 3 road games in the last segment we were talking about? Yeah, right. The Huntsman Center, 14-3. They got ASU and West Virginia coming in. Those look like winnable games at home.
Yeah, I should win both those
You can
games.
get those?
Yeah.
So that gets you to 9 conference wins, but at UCF, at Arizona, and at BYU. 3 road games there.
Yeah, but that's what you want.
Well, you want to get marquee wins.
Yeah.
Change your status very quickly by going to Arizona and winning.
Oh, big time. Yes.
UCF, not so much. They're bottom of the league, and BYU is...
It's a road win, though.
BYU's top half. Yeah, it's a road win. Not the quality of the other two, but
any road win in this conference, that's what's great about this conference, man. Any road win is a very good win, and if you put together a streak, that means you're beating good teams. To win 4 or 5 in a row, like Kansas State, they came in Saturday with 6 in a row, I think it was. Well, there's no way in this conference, if you win 6 in a row, that they're going to be 6 dogs. It just doesn't work that way.
Not possible.
Right.
Too many quality teams.
So they have now won 2 in a row, And if they could find, and 3 out of 5, if they could find a way, and it's much easier to talk about it than doing it, if they could find a way to get on a streak, they could win 4 or 5 in a row here, they will have marquee wins that people will notice. You go to McHale, and with all those freaking old-timers there, the Snowbirds are there in full force. Place is tough. You look at the arena there, and you see nothing but old people. They shove the students over in the side, and it's a tough place to play. It's been a tough place to play for friggin' 40 years since Lute Olson got the thing. Kelvin Sampson was talking about, because they went in there and won on Saturday, and he was talking about how he thinks it's sort of sad that the legacy of Lute Olson is lost to a degree. He is the foundation. He built the program. He created everything they have. He created. He's the Lavelle Edwards of the U of A basketball, and it's a fact. And so he's talking about that. And going there has been very difficult to win for many, many years. Legendary players have come through at the college level, and they've gone to a slew of pros. So you win that ball game, you are right on target, assuming you beat UCF. You lose to UCF, you kind of run in place. If they go 0-2 in their next 2 road games, then they're probably out the door. And it's like, okay, you're just a decent home team, but you're not a good road team. And road wins in college hoop are the most precious to acquire, and the committee always
respects that. They always respect that.
And it means more.
And right now, the Utes are 1-6 in true road games. So get that to 4-6 with wins at Arizona and BYU, and the committee can look at you different.
Yeah, those will be 2 high-quality wins on the road. Yeah.
Take a 20-win record to the NCAA tournament if you pull that off.
I think UCF is, yeah, you're not going to most likely get Arizona if you don't beat UCF. Just the way it plays out, most likely. So they'll get a little warm-up test here on the weekend, and then next week, Arizona. But the good thing for them is I think they've put themselves in. They're not I never look at that stuff. You're a much bigger college basketball fan than I am. You got 68 chances to get in, basically, if you can't. And I just see what the selection thing is, who's on the bubble, who isn't. I admire guys like Lenardi, who somehow made a career out of something that is like a 4 or 5 week lifespan. Good for him. All I know is if you win, you'll increase your chances each stinking time. I mean, that's just the truth. And that's what's really cool about this, is you've got this opportunity here. And take advantage of it, man. You played well in both games. You used your height against Kansas State and dominated. Just 21 offensive boards, man. That's super, super impressive. But you got to back it up. And that's the thing about this conference. It's not what have you done for a week or a game. It's what have you done over 20. Majerus used to talk about that. That's why he thought that the conference season was the purest form of competition, because it's over the long haul. It's not a game or two where you can isolate.
The Utes sweep the Kansas schools. Can an NCAA tournament bid actually be possible? Doug says they could if they won out in the regular season with victories at Arizona and at BYU. They won't, but they could.
Right.
No belief in the 1-6 road team. Suddenly putting together 3 straight road wins. That'd be a stunning turnaround. Yeah. Team that hasn't had a 4-game win streak all season suddenly wins 6 in a row. No, 7 in a row to close out the regular season.
I don't think they need to win out, though.
They can drop one along the way.
Yeah, because then the games in Kansas City count.
There's a chance to pile up some more there, yes. You can't get the true road wins there.
Doesn't matter.
But you could get marquee wins.
Yeah. You will. If you win, you will. If you can win 2 ball games there, yeah. It's possible. It's conceivable. And it's not a long shot stretch. It's unlikely, but it's not something that, I just can't see that happening. I can. They've got some life now.
They did have that. Saw the coach over there fist pumping at the end of the game.
He should. Yeah. There's no reason why he isn't. He should be excited. I don't think he's coaching for his job.
There was a time I thought he was, but I'd agree with you now. I don't think he is.
No, I don't think. I never really thought that. Why? This is his first year in the Big 12. Whittingham had 2 losing seasons his first 3 years. What was the difference?
Whittingham, a ton of credibility built up with 3 double-digit win seasons.
In the Mountain West.
And the undefeated season.
In the Mountain West.
Right.
Which is a dog league.
And if he had built up the credibility going to previous NCAA tournaments?
In the Pac-12, which was a much tougher league.
Yep.
So it's apples and kumquats.
It is apples and kumquats.
It's not the same thing.
But a stretch of seasons not going to the NCAA tournament is a problem, regardless of your league, when you're the U.
No, I don't think so. Not today. You're looking at it historically.
Yes, historically. I think the other thing that he has going for him now, and this is why the history doesn't match up, is paying a coaching buyout unless you really have to. Why do it? You need money for other things. You're going to be paying players.
Right. And
so don't spend the money on the cash over here unless you really have to.
And we had Steve Bartle in on Friday, our Ute Insider. You can catch all his work at KSLSports.com. And he was talking about their NIL being like between $2 and $3 million. BYU, you're not going to outbid us. They're going to have a kid next year making 8.5.
8.5.
And so you expect Craig Smith to walk on water here? No. So that's why I never believed, fine, fire him. It ain't going to make a lick of difference. 0 difference.
You're getting outspent like that.
Yeah, it won't make a difference at all. You can bring in Danny Hurley or Bobby Hurley or Billy Hurley and whichever Hurley you want, and it's not going to make a difference. You're going to have to pony up the money. Kids want money, especially every sport, but I can argue especially in that sport.
But he's got them towards the middle of the league now. And they ought to finish with a winning record.
Oh, overall?
Yes.
Oh, of course they will.
So
I mean, if you schedule 8-9 dog games in the non-conference, if you don't finish with a winning record, something's really wrong.
Right, but until they swept this weekend, it looked like they were on track to finish with a losing record.
What does that mean?
Well, like you said, you scheduled a bunch of dogs, so you have a winning record.
On track? What is track? Let's wait and see the season when it ends. How can you say that? You don't
because
know
they would have dropped to 13-13, and looking at the games they had coming up, I think they would have finished with a losing record.
But they didn't lose those games.
Agreed. And
well, of course you would agreed. It's a fact.
I know, and I don't think he's going to get fired. But if they'd lost him, wouldn't rule it out.
But they didn't.
I know.
My point is they weren't on track for anything. They're on track to play UCF on Saturday. That's the only thing they're on track for. That's it. And go from there. I mean, you can't, in this league, it's stupid to assume anything because there's so much quality competition every which way you turn. And I don't see anything as an absolute given. I really, this league's so competitive, man. But the only thing I can guarantee is Houston is going to guard the crap out of you.
And there'll be a bunch of blue hairs at Arizona home games.
Yeah, but I'm just familiar with that because I've been there. I don't know what the crowd's like in Houston or you know how it seats in Texas Tech. I don't know that Lubbock has snowbirds in the manner that
Arizona
from Phoenix
does.
down to the border does. As far as that goes, it's the same thing with Tad Boyle. They're 1-13. Should he be under the gun? Not in my mind. You're going to a new league. You have to give the new teams time to adjust. And good on Arizona. They didn't need any time to adjust. Good for them. They're tied for second place right now. And we'll see how they do. But this league is a bear. And these teams that got in here, the new teams, I'd be real hesitant to make change unless you really, really have great issues. And I don't think Utah for Craig Smith really, really has great issues. They can do it and buy him out and whatever, but to me, that just seems like you're just changing for change's sake. And I suppose if they lost out, that could be another story. I mean, you could, if they were on track for a losing record, then I can say, which I disagree with, because I don't think they're on track for anything. I didn't know what track they were on. I thought, now I know they got 2 big wins. That's all that matters to me. And now they got to back it up. If they don't back it up, then it's going to be for naught, and it's going to be disappointing. I still wouldn't make a change, but they've put themselves in a position to go ahead and make a difference this season. That's what's exciting, is that they've got, and we're down to literally a handful of games in regular season that I think will define the entire complexion of the season. Because winning, they needed this sweep, and they got it. This was huge. Obviously the best week they've had this whole season. Now they've put themselves in a position to make a move. And I am super curious, but I can't tell you which way they're going to go. I can't say, oh, man, I feel pretty good about them going down this path. Or no, they just won a couple of home games. Whoop-de-doo. They're not really that good. Because they've been in a level of inconsistency. Now, do they have some consistency? For their sakes, I hope. But I am super intrigued. I expect, if I compare it to BYU and Utah State, I expect Utah State and BYU to do well. Now, obviously, the Utes played last night, so they got one less game. And the Cougs got 6 games. I expect minimum out of BYU, minimum 3-3. Minimum. I feel more confident about them. Same thing with the Ags. Utah, I don't know. And I love it, actually, when I don't know. That makes it more fun for me. When I say, I don't have a feel. I've watched them play a ton of times, and we only got 5 games left, but I still don't have a feel.
18-15 overall, 9-11 in the conference when it's all said and done.
That's what your
That'd
prediction?
be my best guess, sitting here here this morning.
All right.
And I get your point. If they don't make their free throws at home against Kansas State, that's a 5-point win. If they struggle and shoot down in the 60s, maybe they lose that game.
Yeah.
So I can't sit there and guarantee. But if I had to guess right now, 18-15.
And what's that? 9-11?
And 9-11.
So you got to go in.
And I would not make a coaching
what are they
change
going?
off that.
2-3 down the road, down the stretch. You're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
In league.
Got them going 2-3.
So losing all road, winning home.
That would be the most obvious. There's a couple that could flip. Maybe they could lose to West Virginia at home. Maybe they could win at UCF. So that's probably a little wiggle room right there.
I think both those things can happen. Both possible scenarios.
Right. I could miss on both games and then come up with the same numbers.
I understand.
And I gave them 1 win in the tournament, but not 2.
Hard to say because you don't know who they're playing. But yeah.
Right. But figuring they're going to play one of the bottom 4 teams in the league in the tournament, and they can win that on a neutral floor. And then they play someone who's between 5 and 8 on a neutral court. So I probably pick against them there. I figured they're going to finish in the 9 to 12
How many guys
range.
get the bye? Is it first 5?
So what they do is they play, unless they change the format, they play the bottom 4 versus the next 4.
Yeah.
So the top 8 get a bye.
Oh, top 8? Okay.
And then the winners play 5, 6, 7, 8. So the top 4 are getting a double bye. So they never play more than 4 games in a day. They knock out 4 teams day 1, 4 teams day 2, 4 teams day 3, and now you're down to the semis. And Majerus would hate that tournament because theoretically you could play 5 games in a row. But the truth is most teams aren't good enough to do that. If you have to play on the opening day, you're going to get knocked out.
The great thing about the Utes now is they've got my attention.
Because those were quality wins at home?
Yes.
And they're back to 500-ish. I mean, 7 and 8. They're not there yet, but
Yes, those were big times. This is the best week of the season.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. How do you save an all-star weekend? Well, the NHL's trying, and we'll get to that next.